The U.S. Naval Academy has now removed 381 books from its library at the direction of the Pentagon as part of the Trump administration's DEI purge. One book banned memorializing the Holocaust. Another book the Naval Academy doesn't want midshipmen reading, Maya Angelou's landmark memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And what's striking isn't just what's pulled, it's what's been left on library shelves. There's apparently 2 copies of Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler on library shelves. When asked about the decision to ban certain books, Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell told the AP, quote, all service academies are fully committed to executing and implementing President Trump's executive orders.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. We have to keep the pressure on. I promised you that we would not let the book banning or Signalgate stories die here, and I meant it. The book bans at the Academy are part of an assault on freedom of thought itself. Just think about how little respect Pete Hegseth has for our men and women in uniform that he thinks they can't handle being exposed to authors like Maya Angelou. And if you missed it, this was an official social media post from ICE saying it's their job to stop ideas from crossing our borders. So yeah, it's about freedom of thought. And then there's Signalgate. We're not going to let that drop either. Lives are literally on the line. When you have senior members of Trump's national security team openly flouting security protocols and then lying about it, holding them accountable, if not in court, then at least with the public, is the only way of keeping this from happening again and again. Yesterday, I shared part 1 of my conversation with Mikey Sherrill, a fellow Navy pilot and Academy graduate who is set to become New Jersey's next governor. Here's part 2, where we talk about the book bans at the Academy, about Signalgate, and more.
We have to talk about Annapolis. You're a proud graduate, but the institution is not experiencing its proudest moment right now. Maya Angelou is out of the Academy Library, and Mein Kampf is in. How do you process that?
I'm having a lot of trouble processing that. And I'll tell you why, because I have kids that are going to Annapolis. And I'm so worried and I'm so torn because I love that institution. My husband went there. I went there. We're very tied to it. It's developed me into the leader I am today. And so many of the things I learned there are things that I've carried with me. I mean, even my stump speech, I talk about things that I learned in naval leadership when I was, like a youngster at the Academy. So that's a term of art for a sophomore, not just a young kid, but like, plebe youngster. So it's really something that I've always been proud of. And so I think that shines through for my kids. And that's why they wanted to go there. And I'm so incredibly proud of them for the sacrifice they want to make. And I think the military needs people like that. I think the military needs people who care about the Constitution, who care about the future of the country, who care about other people and want, as I keep thinking that Paul Wellstone quote, when we all do better, we all do better, who want to lead by lifting people up and investing in people and making sure everybody's invested in the mission. And yet, man, I mean, you're talking about, as you said, really erasing the history of so many people, taking down, a display of Jewish women who served, trying to erase the history of people of color, erase the history of women in service, and really roll it back. Because I have to tell you, Ken, as much as I'm so proud of what I've learned there in my service to the country, I'm not, I don't look back on every experience fondly. I remember being with the Brigade of Midshipmen as the Chief of Naval Operations spoke to us, and a woman stood up and said, "When are women going to serve on submarines?" And he derisively said, "Not in my lifetime," to a standing ovation by the brigade. There were things that were going on that I was so opposed to. The article, "Women Can't Fight," by James Webb, going around the Brigade of Midshipmen. And so when my daughter first wanted to apply, I thought, of course, because we've come so far. We've gone from under 10% in my graduating class of women to over a quarter. Some of the, the leaders at the academy, as I've been there reviewing parades and stuff, have been women. The superintendent of the Naval Academy is a woman. We had the chief of naval operations was a woman who Trump fired because she was a woman. And then we had the first CEO of an aircraft carrier, first female CEO of an aircraft carrier graduated with me. So I was like, man, we've come so far. It's a great time to be entering into the academy. And that started 30 years ago when they lifted combat restrictions for women. When they said you can serve on destroyers, not just oilers. When they said you can fly jets, not just supply aircraft. So, this all led to 30 years later, women being at the top of their careers because of their competence, not because we made, special roles, but because they competed with everybody and they shone. And now to hear from the Secretary of Defense that he wants to roll those options back for women, that he wants to take them out of combat. I know Mike Waltz. I served with him on the House Armed Services Committee. He wants women out of combat. I fought him again and again on this one. So I can tell you that I am so torn right now. I'm convinced we need good leaders to go to the Naval Academy and protect our values and freedoms, but I'm scared to death that they are going to destroy something that so many of us have worked so hard to create.
Hey, it's Ken Harbaugh. Huge shout out to everyone who has supported this show via our Patreon page. If you want to weigh in with questions for upcoming guests or give us feedback on past guests or make sure you never miss an episode, click the link below. It's free to sign up. And if you're able to pitch in a few bucks a month, just know that we put every dollar back into the show. We do have another reporting trip to Ukraine coming up. Thanks for the help. I want your political advice on something. Signalgate. You know what? Let's start with a clip of you laying in to Hegseth and the Pentagon leadership for this outrageous breach.
To think that now we have a government that is has so little concern for our security is really, I think, infuriating. And to see all of these members here who have served, who know that their lives have been on the line and know that what the minimum that they should be able to count on is that their own government is not going to sell them out to foreign adversaries, that their own government is going to take their security seriously. And yes, to think that anybody is saying now that this was not secure information or this was not secret information or classified information, anybody who knows anything about this area, and there are people on that signal chain that know better, know that this is classified information. You don't give targeting information. You don't give timing. You put people in danger. People's lives, American lives, were in danger because of that signal chain.
This seems like an opportunity, a political opportunity that I'm not sure, but talking to my veteran friends, even my conservative veteran friends, it seems like this one might stick in a way that even suckers and losers couldn't. Because as they always say, the cover-up is worse than the crime, right? They're total bungling of the story, of the accountability. How do we make this one last? Because this one actually endangered the lives of American pilots, and it wasn't the first time, and it won't be the last.
Well, and these guys ride on this attitude that they are the toughest guys out there.
Fire emojis, right?
The fire emojis, and they're these tough macho guys who, are going to clear women out of service, and they're going to be so tough and they're so cool. And they're just in this whole Signalgate thing. They look like a flippin' bunch of, like college bros trying to play at being in charge of something. I mean, they all just look like such a bunch of chuckleheads. And I've talked to some admirals about that, and they were like, what a clown show, right? So it is both the danger to national security, but also the complete ineptitude and incompetence. And, you're just kind of you're reading the signal chats, you're looking at it. And then it just gets worse. So they're on a totally unsecured platform.
Yeah.
And then you find that one of the people on this chat chain,
I know where you're going.
Actually, not in just Moscow, right? In the Kremlin.
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I was a Russian policy officer when I was in the Navy at one of my jobs. I remember going to Moscow, going inside the embassy in Moscow. I have to tell you, the briefings you would get, even post Cold War, to go to Moscow and the things you were on the lookout for and the way you conducted yourself, to think that one of these guys was inside the Kremlin as this was going on. I mean, most recently, I was actually just in Finland and we were very careful. First of all, I didn't have my own phone. And second of all, I was very careful with the phone I had to make sure it didn't get on the Russian network. I mean, this is all just such an incredible amount of incompetence at the very highest levels. And then to have, Waltz be like, well, we're going to investigate how this happened. I'm like, you invited these people to a text chain,
right,
and then you communicated sensitive classified strike information on it. I'm no tech expert, but I can tell you exactly how it happened. I've used text chains before. So this is just, you're exactly right. I think this resonates with people. I think a lot of this stuff does. As you were talking about Signalgate, and like I said, I've spoken to admirals and generals about it who are disgusted. I've spoken to lower level people, who'd say I would be fired. I would be
worse. Or worse.
If court-martialed, if I did this. And then I also have to say, your point about the Naval Academy Library. I laugh because I think my husband is he's on all these text chains with our classmates and stuff. And I think he's routinely getting kind of kicked off them, and then they invite him back and stuff. And I know they think it's all me, right? I know they're kind of like, oh my God, Jason's become such a lib, right? Because of Mikey. But I have to tell you, he's gone his own path, right? So he's on these text chains, and he was talking about some of this stuff that's going on at the Academy. And what do you think of them, getting rid of hundreds of books out of the library? And one guy sort of side texted him, and he said, look, I'm a conservative, but this is some Stasi level shit, right? So what's going on, and this is why I think Trump has always tried to denigrate the military, refusing to go to when the bodies were flown back from the people killed, golfing kind of as a, FU to all of you, calling military veterans suckers and losers, attacking Gold Star families again and again and again. I think because he knows it's the group that isn't going to be okay with undermining the Constitution that we've all taken so many oaths to. This is the group that is not going to go down this path.
Yeah, you're right. Well, in every study of autocratic takeovers, the hinge point is the co-opting of the national security establishment and the security infrastructure. And I mean, it's a sign of a broken system that it comes down to the military to defend democracy internally, but God help us if it comes to that. I sure hope we're up to the task. We're going to send you out with your latest campaign ad, which I think as of an hour and a half ago is no longer embargoed. So we're good to do this, but it goes straight at Trump. I think it's exactly the messaging we need before we hit play. Any final words? How are you feeling about the race? I know you got stuff to get to, but love this ad. Love what you're doing. Any parting thoughts?
Well, Ken, thanks so much. I'll be thinking of you and your family. I really do appreciate it. And I will, so I don't get slaughtered by my team, I will drop the website. Please go to MikieSherrill.com and check out more about the campaign. But otherwise, thanks so much for everything you're doing. I think it's really important, and I sincerely appreciate it.
Thanks, Mikey. See ya.
Thank you.
I'm Mikey Sherrill. I know the world feels like it is on fire right now, but I was trained in the Navy that in a crisis, you run toward the fight. So I'm running for governor to defend the state we love, to drive down costs for housing, healthcare, and utilities, to protect everything from your social security to our fundamental freedoms, to stand up to Trump and Musk with all I've got. I'm Mikey Sherrill. I've spent my life fighting for you and your family, and I am not stopping now.
New Meidas merch drop! Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more, all at store.MeidasTouch.com.